Mr. Board Secretary, this meeting, do we know it's under the Public Meeting Act?
Yes, sir, Mr. McEnroe.
Okay. Everybody please join us for the pledge of the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Mr. Board Secretary, roll call.
Mrs. Backup?
Here.
Mrs. Estrada?
Here.
Mr. Syak?
Here.
Mr. Clark? Here. Mrs. Esposito? Mr. Lembo?
Here.
Mrs. Stratton?
Here.
Mrs. Kraft?
Here.
Mr. McEnroe.
Present. We have no presentations, no correspondence. Everybody should receive the copy of the minutes of the regular meeting, November 17, 2009. If anybody has any questions, comments, changes, amendments, deletions from the minutes, if not, I'll accept the motion to accept them as filed.
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Backup?
Yes.
Mr. Bishada?
Yes.
Mr. Syak?
Yes.
Mr. Clark?
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito?
Yes.
Mr. Lembo?
Yes.
Mrs. Stratton?
Yes.
Mrs. Kraft?
Yes.
Mr. McEnroe.
Yes. We don't have a student council representative tonight. Parent involvement representative report. Do we have anything, Mrs. Brill? No. Attorney's report, none. District highlights, Mr. Lembo.
No highlights this evening.
Moving right along. Dr. Alfano, your superintendent's report.
Good try.
You're not so lucky. Buildings and grounds, no report. Sorry. Trying to get a mic down. Section 2, finance. The D&E are donations. A, B, and C are our regular resolutions. E is also a donation. And F is the annual, F and G are our annual audit report, the corrective action plan, and those are the corrections that they put in as well. H is a shared service agreement that we have with South River for a teacher that we're splitting with that school district. I, J, K, L, M, and N are all on the addendum.
I have a question for Mr. DeAndre. That agreement we have with South River for the teacher of the line, does that require my signature on that contract? I saw a copy. I don't know if that was the one I was supposed to sign.
No, I have the original.
You have the original.
Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I is also an outsourced company for behavioralist and ABA services for special education. J is an educational consultant for the blind and visually impaired that we use for special education. K, L are 2 change orders in the amount of $9,500. Retroactively, M and N are 2 services that we use for HealthPoint that we could swear that we did in the past, but we couldn't find them, so just to make sure for New Jersey CUSAC, we made sure we put them back in. Any questions with Section 2?
Mr. McEnroe.
Mr. Bishop.
Mr. D'Andrea, I believe on the settlement that we had with Sean Ray, change order number 69, I believe it was, that these change orders 70 and 71, I thought that they were included with our final settlement with them.
No, the settlement only included change orders up until that date. These were change orders that have subsequently come up. These are additional things that were still out there, and you're going to continue to get change orders out. We've now moved into the opposite side. The settlement agreement did not clear you of any future change orders for work that has to come out.
With the exception of delays. If there's any further
Delay, that's
delays,
where-
we will not be responsible for those costs.
Right, change orders are still the responsibility of the board.
Question.
Mrs. Backo.
Just on D and E, do you know where they're coming from? Those donations?
Mr. DeAndre, do you know where those donations are coming from? I have the documentation, but I'm not sure. The Plymouth Voyager is just a person from the community donating.
Just
I do
like,
not know, no.
just
And
for the future, I mean, if people are going to donate, I think it'd be nice if
That's
we
a
just
good idea.
recognize
I
them
will.
and put it
Thank
in
you.
the agenda.
Yes, I will. I'll make sure Maureen does that. With no other questions in section 2, moving to section 3, personnel non-certified. A is an unpaid family leave. B and C are on the addendum. This is 4 part-time paraprofessionals being hired in conjunction with special education mandates. C is part of the ARA funds, or the stimulus money that we're allowed to use. This basically is at no cost to the district. These are federal funds that are being used for the sectorial program, which will run from December 2nd all the way through to May 31st. Any questions with section 3? With none, moving to section 4, personnel certified. There was a retirement. I want to wish Ms. Johnson the best of luck. She's been with the district a number of years, so I would like to wish her a lot of luck. B is an unpaid medical leave. D is our professional days. And then there's a whole bunch, E, F, G, H, and I, that are on the addendum on the personnel certified. E is again, to our program, and the teachers that will be working on with the ARA funds and the stimulus money. F is a medical leave. G is also a coaching assignment. And H and I is the Board of Education is to request the coaching aides unpaid, and I is I believe it's a substitute teacher. Any questions with section 4? With none, moving to 5. A is just a policy change on the New Jersey QSAC that we need to do. It's part of the requirement. B is also part of New Jersey QSAC, which is we had to approve the reporting incident of violence and vandalism forms. It's just a formality for New Jersey QSAC and monitoring. C is the actual resolution that will take place. New Jersey QSAC will be doing our evaluation. The state will be doing the evaluation on the 7th night of the district. Any questions with section 5 on the policy? With none, moving to section 6. Once again, I have to thank Ms. Baumann, supervisors, teachers, principals. 3 new curricula, revised curricula are listed. Language arts, general science, French 3. Any questions with A? Okay, B is on the addendum, and these are just 2 new kindergarten students. Any questions with section 6? With none, moving to section 7. A, B, C, and D are various different functions at the schools. E and F are 2 banquet approvals of 2 different sports, field hockey and boys soccer.
Dr. O'Connell.
Yes, sir.
Any board members that want to attend those, please let Lorraine know. On F, myself and Mrs. Trapp and Mr. Syak and Mrs. Bacco attended the boys soccer banquet last evening. And on F, the student Kenny Easy had done something that is very rare in high school soccer. He scored over 100 goals, 106 I believe the number was, over the course of 4 years, which is quite an accomplishment. And I like in a future board meeting if we could bring the young man in and recognize him for that accomplishment. We'd like to do that. And if anybody wants to also attend that banquet on January 3rd, please let the board secretary know. Thank you.
He was also being, from what I remember, he was being looked at or suggested that that he goes to UConn or to Duke. A lot of those colleges, those
Yeah,
great
they're
colleges were
recruiting.
looking at him. So it was academic as well as the soccer.
So I'd definitely like to recognize him again.
Thank you, Mr. McEnroe.
Pursuant to the travel reg, should we amend the items of the banquets to include any board member who wishes to attend so that we're approved?
It says one board member.
It says one.
It
It says one board.
If
Says
2
one.
want to go,
I
then we
didn't
have
even
a
see the one
problem.
board.
Yeah,
It says, and 1 board member.
Oh, well, okay, I'm looking at the list, okay. All right, then we're good.
wrong.
I think that also
Unless
is,
it's more than
Unless
one.
more want to go.
I would say any board member.
whatever you want to do.
Just change 1 to any.
On both of those, I think it was on.
Yeah,
F.
field hockey and
And
I have two, there's two. You're talking to two E and F.
And let me know personally if somebody's attending, especially on the third, because also Coach Cifelli had earned his 100 win this season as well, so that's a good program.
Any other questions for section 7? With none, moving to 8. There's a few routing resolutions. C is 9 field trips approved. D is a holiday parade approval for a bus. E is another academic competition being approved. And F is on the addendum, which is and I want to thank Mr. Clark for letting us know about this very worthwhile program, which is Rachel's Challenge, which is being done at the Edison Middle School. So we're sending some of our students and staff over there to see the program, and we decided that we may want to run it, and there's a lot of people that are very supportive of it. I know Ms. Duffy's been very high on that. It's a program certainly that would coincide with peer leadership and student council. It's about building character and things of that nature. And, I think it's a real good
Clark,
program.
would you want to explain that?
If board members like, well, what it's about, it was the first high school student who was killed at Columbine. When her parents were cleaning out her room, unfortunately, they found a code of ethics from her and a handprint on the back of her dresser that said she had a premonition that her life would touch millions. A whole bunch of people have signed up on this. It's about character. It's about getting along with each other. It's about helping people who are disadvantaged more than we are. And it's reached 11 million people so far. It's a very expensive but unbelievably worthwhile program that Edison started to do. And the principal of the school where I'm at asked me if Sarah would like to be interested in one thing led to another. So if any board member wants to attend, they're more than welcome to attend. After the session, they're actually bringing in mayors, council members, and a whole bunch of leaders in the community to be trained as a trainer to go out and spread this throughout Middlesex
What's the
County. It's on December 8th.
December.
We started with about 300 people. We're up to almost 1,000 people are going to attend, so this is taking off. And, people like the Kansas City Chiefs organization had signed on to this. It's really nice. So
Thank you.
I appreciate Dr. Alfano and the rest of the administrators really getting into this.
Any other questions for section 8? With none, that concludes my report. Thank you, Mr. McEnroe.
Any board discussion on the agenda before I open up to the public? If not, at this time, I'd like to open up to the public for agenda items only. If you have any comments or questions on the agenda item, please be mindful that I will open up again to the public for any business that may come before the board. At this time, does anybody from the public have any questions or comments on the agenda item? If not, we'll close the public portion for the agenda items. I entertain a motion to accept and file the superintendent's report.
So moved.
I need a second.
Second.
I need a roll call vote.
Mrs. Backup.
I'm going to vote no on page 1, letter F.
No to the audit.
So the audit report. Yes.
Can I ask why?
Yes. I was not, I was not satisfied with the response last week. His response sort of destroyed the entire credibility of the report for me.
Mr. Bishop.
Yes.
Mr. Stein.
Yes.
Mr. Clark.
Yes.
Mrs. Esposito.
Yes.
Mr. Ledman.
Yes.
Mrs. Strack.
Yes.
Mrs. Strack.
Yes.
Mr. McEnroe.
Yes. On the background information, Mrs. Backo, if I could ask you just to update us on recent developments about relocating the polls and the letter that we received, and Mrs. Baumann is very happy.
We did receive a letter that they're going to move the polls out of Wilson School only. Mr. McEnroe and I have attended the last few council meetings. If you remember, for those of you here, I don't know how long it's been, a few months ago, in October, after we went to the freeholder meeting, and the freeholder suggested, well, this maybe should be more of a local decision, I had gone to the mayor and council and asked if they'd reduce it to writing a resolution saying that they supported us in trying to get the poles out of the school. Well, of course, that turned out more difficult than I thought it was going to be. I had been to council meetings over these past 3 years, asking for their support. It never seemed to be a problem until now. However, so Mr. McEnroe and I went, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, we went to a meeting, and they asked us to give them maybe 2 weeks. They wanted to look into it. So the 2 weeks went. We went last Monday. We both went to the microphone. It didn't go very well. And we're planning on going back next Monday. Right now, the mayor's take is he wants to put the ball in the borough clerk's court and let her have the responsibility on whether they're going to support us in moving the poles or not. So we are going to go back again on Monday and see if we've made any progress, at least to get the mayor and council to support us. Because the original intent is we wanted to go to a Board of Election meeting to say we have the mayor and council support, and Cerebral, we're all on board together, the Board of Education and the mayor and council, but we haven't gotten there yet either. So the fight, we're still continuing, we haven't given up yet, but we did get approval for Wilson School.
But we are going to pursue the other elementary schools. We will continue to go to the borough council meetings. I think we're annoying them now, so it's starting to be fun.
That was clear.
And we're waiting to see what happens. I did get a call from the mayor today, and I am meeting him on Saturday morning, so I think we may be moving in a direction. And my argument is that the same logic the council was supportive of Wilson, why are you not supportive of the other schools? So we will continue to press on with that. But I think getting Wilson is a step in the direction. Unfortunately, it's taken this long. We actually built the bridge over the Round River on Route 9 quicker than it took to get this to happen, but that's the way it goes. But we are not going to give up. We're going to keep pressing on until they stay on. So, thank you, and Mrs. Bacco's been leading this charge, and continue to do that, and you have our support. Okay, and next is the delegate to New Jersey.
Wait, I have
Oh, I'm sorry.
another issue.
Okay, go
A
ahead.
new one
Yes.
that we can talk
Sure,
about?
go ahead.
All right. Not to leave this term. I don't know how many other board members had this, and I spoke to Dr. Alfano about it.
I have another discussion. It might be something to do with midterms.
Yes, it was a
Yes.
midterm schedule.
Okay, bring it up
and then-
now. Okay.
Bring it up. And I did get many complaints, parents, staff, students, about changing the midterm schedule at the high school. I was of the opinion, and I did discuss it with Dr. Alfano, that I thought the half-day, from a parent's perspective, was good, because it gives the students the time to go home and study for it. But I didn't know if anybody else on the board had gotten any issues. I know this just happened, and any other complaints, and I just wanted to talk about maybe the pros and cons of doing this.
I received a letter last night. Of course, we were at the soccer banquet. When I went home, checked my email, there was a letter from a student.
Yes, I saw that.
Talking about that, and I didn't know anything was happening with that, 'cause since my daughter graduated in June, I'm kind of out of the loop on what's happening in day-to-day in the schools. When I found out about it, I called Dr. Alfano this morning and asked him what the issue was, and what I asked him to do is to provide us some research. And I think that's one good thing, that we have 2 meetings a month, so on the 15th we can resolve this issue. What I asked him to do is just to find out what other districts do, and if we are changing it from a half day to a full day, are there academic reasons why we would do that? What are the pros and cons and that type of thing? And then once the information that he's going to provide to us, then we'll discuss it on the issue. To me, I initially felt that it was not a board issue, it's a school building issue, but now that it's been raised as a board issue, we're going to discuss it. And, so Dr. Alfano was gathering information, and we're prepared to discuss that, Dr. Alfano, at the next meeting on the 15th.
Well, what the recommendation that I made, that I think you had thought that wasn't a bad idea, was to sit with the curriculum committee and hash it, so that when we come here, we basically have a recommendation to make to the full board. But I know that I did speak to some of the members, and said that we would reconvene that curriculum committee, and that we would sit down and we would talk about it. And I think that's a better way to go, rather than to hash it out.
Yeah, I know we have a meeting next week. We have some contractors for the solar, right? December 8th.
Yes, December
8th.
Yeah. So prior to December 8th meeting, if I can get the curriculum committee, including Ms. Bacco, if this issue you're interested in, we can just meet beforehand.
Well, actually, I heard about it from the telephone complaints before I actually heard about it from, I actually asked my child after I had heard that, just to verify that this was happening. So I wasn't sure if it was a done deal. I do have one other question.
Okay.
Did you look into the pools? You said you were going to look into the cost of the pools from the planning board?
I'm going to, yes, I'm going to turn to my left right now, and I'm going to ask Mrs. Syak.
Oh, okay.
I spoke to Mr. Finkelstein, who is the superintendent of the Middlesex Regional Educational Services Commission, and we expressed some concern. He indicated that at no time did he promise the use of the schools at no cost, I mean, the use of the pool at no cost, which seems to be consistent with his methodology in terms of the way the commission is run, because they don't derive their resources from any type of state aid. It's all done from, I don't think this is working. It's all done from tuition paid by districts within the county who they are supplying services to. However, I stressed to him that because the school is built in Sayreville, and that the board was under the impression that there would be some concessions made, that he really needs to talk to Dr. Alfano, and he indicated that he would have Mr. Moran, who's their business administrator, talk to our business. We shouldn't be leaving right now.
I spoke to Pat Moran, and his message was basically the same as what you heard. They did not at any point express that they would be providing the pool as a free service to the district. That's basically the same message that I received.
So if we don't pay, is he gonna like kick us out of there? Because I'd love to see that.
Yeah.
I would love to see that.
The other point of clarification that I did get is that I know Mr. McEnroe had mentioned that you were under the impression the brain injured children were getting that pool for free as well. He indicated to me that they are being charged as well. The fee has not been arranged yet, it has not been agreed upon, but he was going to be working and charging that organization as well.
Okay, to answer Mrs. Backo's original question about the planning board.
Yes.
When I was on the planning board, and still, and when that was briefed, and it was Mr. Finkelstein who briefed the planning board, anytime an educational establishment, other government agency briefs the planning board is as a courtesy, not that the planning board needs to vote to approve it. I did look at the minutes, and the only thing it said, Mrs. McEnroe asked about the Saybrook High School swimming team using the pool. That's all it said. So it certainly didn't appear in a resolution, because there was no resolution, because the board did not vote. But I made it very clear, and I remember the question I asked, and can I tell you 100% that I remember clearly that I said for free? I can't recall that, and neither do other the board members that were there. However, I agree with you. I mean, it's worth pursuing, and you know, maybe that's the next thing we can take on, Mrs. Backway, after we do the poll.
The polls for the pools.
Okay.
No.
Yes, Mrs. Esposito.
I did read the email from, I don't think it's on.
I don't think so.
Just shout.
And, the letter we received was from Terrence O'Connor regarding the half a day at the high school.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, I'm in support of that. I just feel that whatever they need to be successful, they should be given. And if that was the past practice, I'd like to support that.
Okay.
And he was very well thought out, he had very good points.
Mhm.
And I think it would relieve the stress on them. And I think we should help them out in that.
He just happens to be in the audience.
Well, I think, you know, I think, you know, when I read the letter, there was a comment about he thought that perhaps nothing would be done because a student was bringing it to our attention. But I want to add that that's great that a student brought that to attention, and the fact that the student mentioned something, the Board of Education is talking about it. So that is a good thing. You know, the bottom line, we're a Board of Education, but our end users are our students, and I will always entertain their input, and I am going to respond to that letter back last night at 9:30. I didn't have any of the information on what the specifics were and what the issues were. So what I'd like to do is just discuss this again on the meeting of the 15th, and Dr. Alfano will just come to some closure with that. So, okay. If there's anything else, the delegate to New Jersey School Board Association, must be something happening on the political end.
Yeah, absolutely. And real quickly, at the last board meeting, Mr. Bashada brought up, and there were justifiable concerns about the lame duck session in Trenton pulling some fast ones. They absolutely tried. One that I actually spoke about 4 months ago, where that was going to require school districts to pay prevailing wages for journeymen electricians, which would have really skyrocketed our cost on electrical repairs. They tried slipping that through, and paying prevailing wages for food services workers. They tried to do that. New Jersey school boards sent representatives there to fight it, and it was tabled. So two of the more difficult ones are off the table now. I'm sure there's more right around the corner, so stay tuned to njsba.org.
It's going to get interesting in January.
Very.
Past the 20th, so we'll see. Okay, under discussion, I just had a couple things. Speaking of letters, I received 5 letters from students in the mail, and I actually penned a response back to each one of them and sent them to their home addresses that they have on the letter. 2 of the letters were about the issues of smoking in the bathroom in the high schools. And I think probably since I was going to school, that's been an issue in the schools. I know Mr. Brown is doing everything he can to try to solve this problem. I know we've already taken some students to the magistrates because it is against state statutes smoking on school grounds. And one student, I think, was fined $500, is the information I got, and they're continuing to bring students. One of the problems that I mentioned in the letter in response to this is that I work in a high school myself, and any given time I can go into the boys' room and catch a kid smoking. There's not a lot of kids smoking here, but we have a few kids that are smoking a lot. And with all the bathrooms in the high school and all the students in the high school, it's difficult, to catch a kid smoking. I want teachers in the classrooms, not in the bathrooms. But those that do get caught are prosecuted to the fullest extent that we can. It's a problem, I understand. It's going to continue to be a problem, and I know Mr. Brown and his staff are vigilant in trying to cure this problem. But I understand my own daughters, 3 of them, gone to the school, and they've always complained about going into a restaurant and smelling smoke and that type of thing. And it's also incumbent upon the students as well to police themselves and to take ownership in the building that they're in every day. So there were 2 letters that were very well written that I responded to about smoking in the bathrooms. Another letter that came in about courtesy busing, about reinstating courtesy busing, and why was it eliminated from the budget. That was in 2006. I provided a little history of that, and the 2 options that we offered that as a second ballot question that was defeated. Another letter came in, which was a very good letter, Mr. DeAndre. It was about the condition of the track. And I know, can you just give us an update with the sinkhole and the track and what our plan is going to be? I know we're meeting on Friday with the high school construction committee.
At this point in time, I'm having difficulty finding someone that can help serve the board in the process of determining the bid specification, as we discussed in executive session last week. I did receive an email from Mr. Linton guiding me towards someone that he thinks could help us. But other than that, that's really where we are, knowing we need to first settle the possible litigation, if there is any, before we can move ahead.
Okay. Let's be prepared to discuss that on Friday's meeting.
Yes.
The Construction Oversight Committee.
Yes.
On getting that repaired. And the last letter, which was my favorite, and unfortunately it wasn't a return address to respond, but it was a young lady that she would like to state her concern about implementing mandatory uniforms in Sayville High School. So it was interesting from kids who advocate for wearing uniforms. I'll leave it at that. So those are the letters I received, and I think from my perspective, I enjoy getting letters from students, and I do put that at the top of the list to respond to them. So I think that's democracy in action, to come and complain or to make suggestions to the Board of Education when they're the kids, the people that are affected most by the decisions that we make up here. So any comments on any of those issues that we've talked about? Mr. Bishop.
I just have a question for Mr. DeAndrea. I'm looking around the cafeteria, and one of the things that have annoyed me is when I see Scotch tape holding signs up. All right, we were supposed to, Mr. Lembo had requested that we put panel boards up throughout the building. And that was, I guess, what, about 4 or 5 months ago, Mr. Lembo?
They've been
Yeah, 3
ordered.
months ago.
They've been ordered and have started to be installed.
But can we, and Mrs. Batko and I were here last week for the Alumni Day, and we took a walk up to the L wing and just to see what it was, where it was leaking. I mean, it's an absolute disgrace with all that stuff that's taped all over the walls up there.
All I can do is let the building administration know.
I mentioned it to Mr. Brown. I mean, could we reinforce this issue of, this is a brand-new building, brand-new walls, and we've seen where Scotch tape was put up and pulling the paint right off the walls.
Again, we discussed this, the update at the Construction Oversight Committee meeting, where the boards are and how many we got.
Well, I know they've been, with Dennis today, he was giving instructions to his people to start installing, but they just got arrived.
Anything else? Mr. Bishop, you didn't smoke in the bathroom when you were in school, did you?
Me?
Yes.
No.
Not the back, okay. Any other comments from the board about the letters received?
Just a construction update?
Yes, Mr. Sack, can you give us, the public, a update on the current construction?
We're in the home stretch regarding the high school construction. We have entered, I believe it's phase 558, which consists of the construction that is going to be happening in the A wing in the front of the building, top and bottom, from the library, actually from our library towards the Cerebral Public Library, if you're looking at the building from the street. We have just gotten the certificate of occupancy for the other half of the A wing as well as the front entrance, and the students were in those areas starting on Monday. We moved the classrooms over the weekend. So we are in the final stretch. The project is expected to be completed by the end of February, at which point we'll be done, and I won't have to give any more reports.
You'll miss it.
The punch list, we'll have a punch list.
Thank you, Mr. Sack. I too waiting for this to be done. Absolutely. Okay, at this time, there's no other discussion with the board. I'd like to open up to the public for any business that may come before the board. If you're interested in coming to the microphone, please state your name and address for the record. If you do not want to be videotaped, let us know and we'll cut the tape.
I'm sorry, Mike, can I jump in here? Sorry.
Yes, until you got to Ms. Bloom, get to the microphone.
Okay. I know that the next 2 Saturdays is the vaccination clinics, and I'm wondering, are you getting enough support? I know that I'm busy next weekend, but the following weekend, I'm more than willing to spend the day and help
We
out.
still
wherever.
need some people in the afternoon for this Saturday, and although we are planning a clinic for the following Saturday, I haven't yet heard if we're going to get additional vaccine. So we will follow the same process that we did for this notification. Parents will receive a letter telling, and that letter basically is your admission ticket to the clinic. And whatever amount of vaccine we get, we certainly will distribute.
Okay. And you'll accept volunteers from anybody, whether it's a PTO or board members?
The PTOs have already volunteered, and they're going to provide all the refreshments for the staff on that day. But if there are other PTO members that would like to volunteer that day, all they have to do is call my office. We can use the help, especially in the afternoon. We have sufficient help in the morning, but it's in the afternoon from, say, 12 to 3:30.
How many students do we plan on affiliating this at?
490. We got an additional 100 doses, so we're going to see if we can do a few more students.
And
So-
where is it on Saturday?
It's at the SUES.
And these are students that, the number of students that will be coming Saturday?
Yes,
And we have all the paperwork, the permission slips and all that?
yes, sir.
And-
I'm sorry.
We expected 1,400.
Yes, we had planned for 1,019.
Who's actually administering the?
Our nurses and the Board of Health nurses. The Board of Health will be sending us 5, and 7 of our nurses are going to be there, so there'll be 12 nurses.
And this is the assumption that you get all the vaccines delivered?
We have had delivered 390 doses. I was told that another 100 doses might be made available to us tomorrow. As soon as that vaccine is delivered, then I'll send out more notices to more parents who have requested the multiple dose vaccines at grade 2, starting with pre-K, kindergarten, and 1. Those are the individuals we're taking care of on Saturday. As additional dosages come in, we're going to proceed up through grade 2, 3, 4, and up.
I know this district's pretty proactive in this. I know where I'm at, that they haven't even gotten to the point of whether even briefing anybody yet. So, where do we keep the vaccinations when they come? I know they have to be climate controlled.
I would prefer not to say where they are, but
Okay.
they are kept according to CDC regulations.
Okay. And that's the nurses handling that?
I am.
That's better, or that's better?
And we
You
have,
need to understand, Mr. McEnroe, Ms. Sutherland has done just a tremendous job with H1N1. She has collected 2,300 of these forms that are about 3 pages long, went through every single form. There's 3 types of vaccinations that have to go, that students can take. We've probably gotten 487 different messages from the Department of Health. They keep changing it each and every day. They're promising vaccination. The reason this program is going to run efficiently is because of the young lady sitting next to me, and I just want to publicly thank her for everything that she's done. The H1N1, believe me, this has been, I've been in education 32 years. This is probably the most difficult thing we've had to do. And I really want to thank the people that are coming out and volunteering, and want to thank the nurses. And this is something that, again, pretty soon we'll be doing everything and anything for the children in education, because we're becoming more and more everything to the youngsters, and this is just another indication. And without the schools, this program could never, ever get off the ground. And once again, I would like to thank the publicly.
I thank you for your compliments, but again, it is my office too. Karen Ranowitz, Laura Schuldes, Debbie Cooper, certainly all the nurses are a big part of this. I'd also like to express my thanks to Barry Eck, our Office of Emergency Management. He's my partner, and nothing could get done unless Barry is helping us, and he's conquered some mountains that we thought wouldn't be conquered, and he's getting us as much as we can have as fast as we can. I'd like to extend all of our appreciation to him and his team.
Thank you. Yes. Yes, ma'am.
Ms. Matthews, I just wanted, since you brought it up, the midterms, to express some concerns that my members brought to me, so you could get that perspective also. The concern was that they would have to modify their assessments, because now, since there was less time to grade and classes in the afternoon where they'd have to be teaching new material, they would have to change the assessment that they would normally do. My recommendation to them was make it as simple as possible to make it easier for yourself, but they're concerned about their students, and also the fact that the students do use that time to study. So that was just another angle that might help you make a
I
decision.
appreciate your input, and I think I feel pretty convinced this will be resolved next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else from the public like to come for any business that may come before the board? This is an easy night. Take a, oh,
Wait a minute.
sir?
Hello, I'm Terrence O'Connor.
Can you use the microphone, Terrence?
Right there, underneath, by your knees.
And just relax.
Hello, I'm Terrence O'Connor, and 45 Pierce Street, Parliament.
You a lightsaber that you
Yeah.
handle? Okay. I got a kick out of that.
Thanks. I wanted to come here tonight for two reasons. One was to thank those board members who replied to my email so quickly. I really appreciate that. And second, I wanted to reiterate a few points concerning, a few points of concern regarding the removal of half days during midterms. Midterm exams are really important, being worth 10% of a course grade and 20% of semester grade. At the end of each day during midterms, our brains are just fried. And after weeks of constant review, our brains can't really hold anymore. We're exhausted, and if you choose to make students attend classes during midterms, important lessons are essentially pointless. We simply can't focus on new material when we are trying to retain so much information for so many midterms. Therefore, it's just a waste of time. Those 2 extra hours are essential for students to relax our overworked minds or study a little bit more for the next day's exams. I can't imagine the reasoning for extending an already exhausting day, but I'm sure that I speak for my fellow students when I say, please take the academic welfare of students into strong consideration in making a decision. And I see that the removal of half days during midterms just seems detrimental.
We do, as a Board of Education, take the best interest of the students in mind when we make decisions, and I want to applaud you on two areas. Number one, to have a young man like yourself sending an email so well written to the Board of Education, basically stating your case. I know in your letter towards the end you had made a comment that you doubt that anything would be done because the student is sending us a letter, and quite contrary, the fact that you initiated a discussion by the Board of Ed and the superintendent to solve this issue, number one. I admire you for. Number two is I admire you for your academic agenda and your interest in your schoolwork and every opportunity to do well. So good on you. And if you attend the meeting on the 15th, I'm sure we will resolve this issue.
Thank you.
Appreciate you for coming to me. Thank you.
Thanks.
Anyone else from the public like to speak? Yes, ma'am.
My name is Mary Beth Dravick, 16 Yorkshire Place, Harlan. I'm here tonight as both a parent and I am an assistant winter track coach, and I was delighted when where you received a letter from Greg, and Greg's mom approached me this morning and told me about it. So that's why I just wanted to come by. And I know everyone's aware of the condition of the track, and I'm delighted that it's being looked at a little bit closer because it's something that I know has been ongoing. And I'm not sure if you're aware of it, our team has been very successful. Last winter, our girls were the white division champions. In the spring, both of our boys and girls were the white division champions. And so because of that, the white division has decided to remove us and move us into the red. So we have one more year. So I believe just football and track are going to be eventually next year in the red division. And so we would like you to take that into consideration, knowing that as coaches, we need to step up our game so we're able to compete against the Old Bridges and the South Brunswicks that we're going to be up against each season. So we need to hopefully have a facility that will help us as coaches give the best to our athletes.
And Ms. Dravic, thank you. This is something that we were aware of in the summer when we had a sinkhole. I know Mr. Machado, myself, Mr. Lembo, and Mr. Sayek were standing around scratching our heads. How did this occur? We were trying to understand if it's a result or issue with the field that went in. Was the water table disturbed? And we hired engineers to look at it, to do core samples, look at the geology. I'd say a couple hundred feet of we scoped pipes with scopes to see if there's any pipes broken.
Right.
Obviously, something's moving under there, much like the water, and that's what we're issuing. It is a high priority for the board, and we were kind of annoyed. And as I mentioned in my response back to Greg, is that the track team is no less important than any other sports team. They're members, they're athletes, they're students, they're parents, they're taxpayers, and it's on us to get this track fixed. I also mentioned we did budget it to repave the track, and we were going to repave the track, and then when the sinkhole developed, we're going to pave over a sinkhole and spend that money. So it is a priority for us. We're meeting on Friday. That's going to be one of the topics of discussion.
Great to hear.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you.
Anyone else from the public? Yes, sir.
I don't know if I turned it off or not, Larry.
Hi, I'm Larry Wallace. I'm a teacher at the middle school. I'm also the head track coach for Boys Spring. Coach Drabeck brought up a really great opening for me. We had to consider, or would like us to consider, some kind of a track program, competitive speaking, at the 8th grade level. You have your football, you have your popular football, you have your basketball, you have your softball, girls and boys baseball. We need a track program. Ladies and gentlemen, every field day that's the middle school has had, we've had the minimum of 100 contestants from 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And it is a big day for the people, and the kids enjoy it. You cannot believe the enthusiasm out there. I feel, and Ms. Drabeck brought it up big time, once we go into red division, we are not going to have the quality program that is expected of us. And the only reason why, one, we don't have the facility, and two, we don't have the coaching staff to bring that 8th grade level into the high school level. I just want you to understand that. It's not, we don't want the money, we just want the ability to practice somewhere where these 8th graders who are so enthusiastic to run that they go to Ms. Drabeck's program, we need them to give them a better opportunity to achieve. And we're talking people at Division I. We have athletes right now in the field right now that are category of Division I. Kenny Easy is one of them. And Kenny's a senior, but he's also run track. I can mention 4 or 5 boys that have gone beyond this level, but please consider in the near future some type of competitive program at the 8th grade level. Thank you for your time.
Mr. Wallace, this is a board that's friendly to athletics. I know the excitement on the board is when we implemented the boys baseball. Did you address this at all with the athletic director? Because that's how usually things get up to the board, is that he would budget for it or...
Yes, it's been directed. Yes, sir. I did talk to JK and on a friendly basis, and he says, well, money's a tight ABC, and so I understand that, but please believe me, the white division is a good division, but once you go into that red division, gentlemen and ladies, we're going against the big boys. We're going against the Old Bridge and the South Brunswick and the East Brunswick, and we're going, you name it, we're going against the big schools. And we're talking big schools like later on to Phillipsburg and that type of situation where you want to be, where we want to be, with that's where the competition really is.
I think one thing that we're proud of and say was our athletic program.
I'm not bashing the program
Yeah, no,
whatsoever.
I'm just saying that that's always been an interest of the
Yes,
board
sir.
because I value athletics as I do academic education. I think they work hand in hand with developing our young people.
Yes, sir, I agree with you 100%. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Yes? Yes, Ms.
I'd
Scott.
like to congratulate you on getting into the Red Division. We had discussed this with the,
Talk
I
louder.
go as close as
Talk
I
like
can.
you're yelling at me.
Okay. We did discuss this, I know it was a budget issue, and I know that the athletic director, I believe that middle school track is on his priority list, and I know it has been discussed, and I think he does support the middle school track. It had always been, we had always talked about other sports, and I think this was on his priority list, and I think it will come up again at the budget time.
Well, I'm also thinking, like, if the cost of winter track cannot be that costly.
Right. This is one of the sports that we were discussed, this was the, I think was his priority, and it was probably the most economic for us to put in, because we can get a lot of numbers with a smaller amount of money.
Okay. We'll certainly entertain that through the channels. Yes, Ms. Draper.
Just really quick.
Yes, ma'am.
Not to delay this any longer, but I did start a track club at the middle school through the rec department, and for the past 2 years since I've been at the middle school, I've had 85 students in my club. So there is an interest. These are kids who maybe can't hit a baseball, can't hit a softball, but they can run. So there is an interest. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Anyone else from the public like to speak? If not, I will entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Thank you. Remind the public that there will be a meeting, it's a special meeting next week on the 8th, and that's, we are interviewing 3 contracting firms, look at their proposals for solar energy within the district. And then the time, what time is that meeting, Mr.?
Starting at 6.
6 o'clock here. And then the following Tuesday, 2 weeks from tonight, will be a meeting at this location, 7:30 p.m. Thank you.